Chefs, what red flags do you look for when you go out to eat? If I see Gordon Ramsay eating with the camera crew at the same restaurant I'm in. Bye my guy. My first boss was an ice cream. Dunno. He made ice cream. He had a nasty as kitchen and stuff I would never eat because I know just how old that cookie really is. And I've seen how he makes that chili. Ick. Yeah. Chili and ice cream. I don't know. It was a weird time. So when he told me never to eat at the place across the street, you know it was bad. Really. Really bad. His criteria happened to be knowing the health inspector and how often that guy shut a place down. And what for? Not a chef but a 15-year server. If the servers take 10+ min to greet the table when the restaurant isn't full, it has always been a poor experience overall. It tells me nobody is managing the entire restaurant correctly. And that carries over to food. I'm sure others have said this, but the general smell. Not only can smell deter me from visiting a restaurant, but the restaurant I work at recently had our pipes replaced and the dining room smelled of raw sewage for about 2 weeks. We lost a lot of business because of it. Edit. Thanks for all the love guys. I just quickly typed this out while on the toilet at 4 AM. My life is exciting. I worked as a food runner and busboy for a summer. It changed how I view the food industry and how empathetic I am to workers in it. However, I will not tolerate bad smells. If the restaurant smells bad, I bail. There is probably more shit that is unacceptable. But that's the first thing that always comes to mind. I worked as a server and occasional line cook for several years. Number 1 red flag is the spouts on the soda fountain. Those things are one of the easiest things to clean in the entire place. So if they're mildewy, that kills my interest in eating there. I'm fine with a bit of mess elsewhere. Especially in a high volume place, since it will get messy over the course of the day. But those spouts take multiple days of no washing to get to a point where they are noticeably disgusting. Kinda backwards. But if your server recommends something that isn't the highest priced thing on the menu, appetizer or entree, you should probably get it. You best bet it's their personal preference. But they eat that food daily. As do us cooks. And if we can eat it after weeks, months of cooking serving it, it's probably worth your time. Exactly. I always recommend my favorite things instead of the $25 steak they want me to push. Edit. Most other items on the menu are $10.15. The steak is the most expensive thing we have. Not a chef. But having a menu that has too many options makes me question what goes into making those meals and how fresh they are. If you have a packed 20-page menu with Mexican food and American food and pizza and pastas and Asian fusions dishes, what am I getting when I order something random like beef stew or steak? They have this restaurant near me called Mike's Place and they legitimately have too many items on their menu. They have like 50 items per page on 4 pages. It makes me question what I am eating a little bit. But the food is so damn good that I still eat it. Edit. This is the one in Kent, Ohio. My friend was a chef and he told me, unless they're Greek, if you can hear the chefs yelling in the kitchen, get out. If they're fighting, they're messing up the food. I never thought to ask him about the Greek exception. Italian too. God, are my bosses loud. All siblings. All can be heard talking from anywhere. Sometimes during a fast moment in the back, someone gets pissed and yells at the people in the back to shut the duck up cause they can't hear the waitress 2 inches from them. I ask the waiter what they like to eat off the menu. If they don't have something ASAP and they aren't new, bounce. The answer will be what everyone else likes on the menu. You might not like my real favorite, but you'll probably like the most popular dish. The most popular dishes tend to be basic or unhealthy. A big one is definitely an empty parking lot during lunch and dinner. If the entire town is skipping out, you should too. I have a caveat on that one. My ex was training to be a chef, and her restaurant was open 3 nights a week, and every weekdays for lunch. Thursday, Friday and Saturday. It was completely full every Fridays and Saturdays. But on Thursdays it often only had less than 10 people throughout the whole night. So I guess my point is that it's true if that's the case every day or so. But sometimes there are just not many customers. The great French chef Fernand Point left us some advice. If I go somewhere new and the chef is very thin, I know my meal will be bad. If he is both thin and sad, I leave as quickly as possible. I rely more on the sad thing than the thin thing. If I walk into a restaurant and I can feel sadness and anger from the staff, I leave. Not a chef, but a restaurant manager for circa 10 years until I left the industry last year. Obviously I'm extremely aware of these red flags, as it was my job to notice them for a decade. To name a few: huge menus, dirty tables, exhausted anxious looking waiting staff, no cocktail menu, beer tastes odd, no beer ciders on tap, no one greets you at the door, odd atmosphere, dead plants, overhearing waiting staff saying "I'm sorry, that's not actually on the menu tonight." Intros listing specials when sat that takes longer than 30 secs. Over-friendly overbearing staff. Saddle looking chefs of an open kitchen. Inappropriate inconsistent to loud no playlist, a personal hate of mine. Anything that mentions a chef's name in the menu. Pete's Chicken Special. Menu descriptors that don't describe what food you're having. This is kind of inexhaustible. Not gonna lie. Sometimes, though, you just want a McDonald's. Was a chef. Flies. Anywhere in the restaurant. Screams bad food waste handling procedures. Also, the employees gathering in groups to gossip in view of customers, rather than do their duties. Or at least look busy. If you have time to lean. Fish on the Sunday brunch menu. It got there Thursday and they are trying to get rid of it before it spoils. If the dish is fish with hollandaise, do not eat it. The fish is more than likely bad and they are hiding the smell with the hollandaise. For me it would be front of the house knowing the menu. A good chef will have people taste all dishes and specials through training so they can describe it to customers. If I ask a waiter or waitress what's in something or how it tastes and they go "let me ask the kitchen," never mind. I'm good. Line cook chiming in here. 1. Don't knock places with microwaves. All the stuff that goes into mics, at least at my place, is just heating up sauces, mac and cheese base, caramel etc, or warming up the rice for a minute. 2. Definitely look at the employees. You'll be able to tell if the food is gonna good or not, solely based on body language. 3. Don't get things that are out of place. Example, don't get the fish and chips at a sports bar, in the States, Canada at least. I'm not a chef, but I am pretty critical on the quality of the utensils. If there are food residue or if it feels sticky, I'm going to have a chat with the owner of the restaurant. Dirty bathroom, dirty kitchen. It's a phrase for a reason. I don't agree with that. Chefs are in charge of the kitchen. Cleaning staff clean the facilities. At a restaurant I worked in a few years ago, the cleaner was really diligent and religiously made sure everything was spotless. Chef was lazy as duck though. Didn't even clean the grill after service. Plates with chips, large cracks in them is a big indicator for me. Those chips host a lot of germs and if the restaurant isn't throwing them away then they are probably slacking in other areas of food safety. My mom was a chef. Maybe this is just me being too much of a bullbuster, but when I go to a restaurant the bread basket, if they serve one, is somewhat an indicator of the meal to come. What really shows me that this restaurant is doing the bare minimum is if they serve frozen packaged tabs of butter. Give me some tapenade, chili oil, hummus, whipped butter, compound butters, hell even a decent olive oil on a plate would suffice. Just no frozen packaged tabs of butter. I need to warm up by keeping it between my hands for 5 minutes. As a chef it is always important for me to eat at a locally owned and operated establishment instead of a massive megacorp restaurant. There. Even if you possibly have a poor experience you are at least supporting your community. Also, I believe you greatly improve your chances of having a delicious meal made from the heart, rather than a plate designed for max profit in a boardroom. My grandpa always swore the quality of the restaurant was based on how many calendars were on the walls. Lots of calendars equals good place to eat. He also wouldn't go fishing if all the cows were laying down. If the daily special consists of items found in the standard menu, it's probably not fresh and they're trying to get rid of old stock. Aprons. If I see anyone with an apron on and they're heading to the bathroom, or if they take it off and set it on a table or booth, they're probably not too conscious about cleanliness. They touch that apron a lot. And then touch your food. If the plate is extremely hot, your order has been sitting in the window for an extended period of time, meaning it's already pretty dried out and the cooks aren't cooking to order. Nothing dangerous. Just a bit of a turn off. The cleanliness of the dining room, including the floors. If they aren't keeping it decently clean or sweeping the floors in the areas you are. Just imagine what the areas you don't see look like. Edit. In all the restaurants I've cooked in, the plates were never kept extremely hot or in a hot box. They are usually kept at room temperature or a little above. I have been told time and again that this is because although a hot plate would keep the food warm longer, it also runs the risk of injuring a customer. The rule was always that if a plate is too hot for the server to carry it, the expo should switch out the plate. This is why I said extremely hot, not just hot or warm. Massive menus. A good restaurant, specifically finer dining, will not crouch on a large menu, but will have a consistent one, maybe a page or two. Bigger menus usually mean that some items won't get ordered as often, and will have been likely sitting, especially if they are on the menu, that is, lower cost. Edit. Big menus can be very appropriate in context, such as those of ethnically specific restaurants. I've been to my share of Indian, Thai, and Japanese that had extensive menus, but expertly prepared dishes. This is mostly feasible though because a small number of ingredients are usually used in many dishes, such as rice or chicken.